Hey guys, how you going? I'm going to do it this way today, see how we go. And I know I thanked Sandra last time, but I just wanted to put it at the beginning. I don't like thanking people in the middle of streams. I'd prefer to do it at the beginning. So thank you, Sandra, for last week. I appreciate that. Okay, let's get into the news here. We got shameful. Joe Biden forced to wait for a seat after arriving late for the Queen's funeral. Milkmaid Jill does not disappoint. So what happened? Joe and Nurse Jill were late on Monday to Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in London. It must have taken longer than normal with manoeuvring the buttons on his shirt and tuxedo. They were forced to wait to be seated behind the procession of British military heroes. He's not the world's most powerful man. He's an idiot. Sorry. They're saying he may be the world's most powerful man. No, he's not. He's an idiot. But the apparent late arrival of the US President Joe Biden and his wife Jill was not allowed to disrupt the finely tuned choreography of the late Queen's funeral. You know that word. Rather than being ushered immediately to their seats on their arrival at Westminster Abbey, the first couple, aged 79 and 71, had to be gently told they would need to stand and wait as a procession of George and Victoria cross holders went ahead of them down the nave of the Abbey. Look at his face. Huh? After an awkward period of small talk at the main entrance, as those awarded the highest decorations of military valour went ahead, the Bidens finally followed in the wake of Victoria Cross holder CSGT Johnson B. Harry, pushing the wheelchair of Keith Payne VC 89. The US President had been given a dispensation to make his journey to the Abbey in the Beast, a heavily armoured limousine. Oh, it's called the Beast, is it? Yeah, the Beast system. He runs it. A heavily armed limousine used by US President for security reasons rather than be bussed to the Abbey with the other states of head and government. Dr. Jill, the milkmaid, did not disappoint with fancy black ribbon in her hair that she likely made at craft class. It kind of looks that way. Okay, let's go on to other news. What else have we got? Oh, savage. Beyond Meat COO bites man's nose in brawl after college football game. In an alleged traffic dispute following a University of Arkansas Razorback football game, Beyond Meat COO Doug Ramsey was arrested for biting a man's nose. Charges against Ramsey include terroristic threatening and third-degree battery. Perhaps he is a meat eater after all. Yeah, just not the type of meat you think. That's why I would question Beyond Meat. Okay, so apparently what happened here was he was trying to get out of the university at the end, and another car just came inching up and got inched his way in front of his Bronco, making contact with the passenger side. He got out and punched through the back windshield of the Subaru. The owner of the Subaru then got out, and this guy pulled him close and started punching his body, but also bit the owner's nose, ripping the flesh off his nose. The victim and witness reports hearing Ramsey threatened to kill the owner of the Subaru over a traffic incident. Not worth it. Occupants of both vehicles got out and helped separate the parties. Ramsey was arrested and booked into Washington County Jail. He's scheduled to appear in Fayetteville District Court on October 19th. According to Beyond Meat's website, now he was the chief, what is he? He's the chief operating officer. That's what the COO is. I didn't know that, so I had to look it up. I had to try and find it in here. Okay, Doug Ramsey joined Beyond Meat as chief operating officer in December 2021. Before joining Beyond Meat, Mr. Ramsey served as head of retail poultry operations for Tyson Foods, Inc., NYSE, TSN, from May 2021 till December 2021. That's a pretty short job, really, isn't it? Mr. Ramsey served in various other roles at Tyson Foods, which he joined in 1992, including President, Global McDonald's Business from January 2019 to April 2021, Group President Poultry from August 2017 to January 2019. Okay. President Poultry from March 2017 to August 2017. That's not long either. And SVP GM Big Bird Value added from April 2014 to March 2000. How many jobs was he working at the one time? From 2014 to 2017, but from March 2017 who knows? It might just all be the same company. He's just moved around. But why? Is he not doing the job well? Is that why he, like President Poultry from March 2000? It doesn't make sense. 2017 to August 2017 yet. I don't know. I don't know. He might have multiple jobs in the same company. Who knows? Mr. Ramsey received his BS, what is bullshit, in agribusiness and agriculture business operations from Southern Arkansas University. Yeah, I'd be watching this guy. I'd be watching this whole Beyond Meat thing, to be honest. Don't trust them. Soylent Green is people. I have to keep saying that. Breaking. Mike Lindell suing the FBI, US government in the next 18 hours. Exclusive interview with a Western Journal. So things are going on there. Horror. 21-year-old LSU senior gunned down while sitting in a car in Baton Rouge. Sick. Radical California legislature bill passes bill allowing state to subvert parental rights and take custody of out-of-state minors seeking trans surgery awaits Governor Newsom's signature. So what is this? What are they doing taking people from out of state? Late last month, the California legislature voted to pass a bill that would allow the state to take custody of out-of-state minors seeking gender transition surgeries and cross-sex hormones, even if these actions go against the wishes of the child's parents. Wow. It's turned California into a sanctuary state for transmutilation of children, aka gender-affirming care. The sickening legislation now sits on Governor Gavin Newsom's desk, awaiting his signature. He has until the 30th of September to sign or veto the bill. Despite not taking action as of yet, Newsom is expected to sign it. Of course he would. When introducing the bill, Senator Weiner, oh, great name, came the same radical who introduced pieces of legislation that would allow anyone 12 years or older to get vaccinated without parental consent, mandate drag queen story hour in grade school, and relax the punishment for child sex offenders, amongst others. Claimed it was necessary for the state to take action because of laws passed elsewhere in the US that restrict minors who identify as transgender from accessing radical and destructive treatments such as cross-sex hormones and surgeries to remove healthy organs. Weiner characterises these laws that protect American youth as brutal attacks on transgender children. It's just an attack on them trying to, what do you call it? Brainwash kids. That's what's happening. I hate this. I really don't like this. Opponents of it rightly view the measure as a direct assault on parental rights and a gross overstepping of authority by the notoriously progressive state. Additionally, the issue goes much deeper than parental rights. At the very notion of gender-affirming care has been widely proven to cause severe long-term consequences, sterility, bone loss or other health issues, and increased suicide rates among young people who are coerced into medically transitioning. Thankfully, several notable advocacy groups in California are mobilising against the legislation and are already gearing up their legal challenges for it if and when Newsom signs the bill into law. This is disgusting. And believe me, California is and New York, they're like Australia, Canada, New Zealand. Honestly, this is what we are like here. And this is disgusting. I don't even want to read anymore, but they're opening the way. I believe if someone, I don't know how this works. Hang on one sec, guys. Okay, what it's doing is incentivizing minors to travel to California behind their parents' back in search of this type of care, and that's probably when they will prey on out-of-state children and try and take them off the parent for not going along with the child. It's disgusting. Okay. Satanic creepy John Fetterman cheered when killer who stabbed man 26 times with garden shears was released from prison. Do you need to know any more about that? Ransacked in a far different condition the way I left it, Trump arrives at Mar-a-Lago for the first time since the FBI raid. Clown show. White House immediately walks back Joe Biden's comments on Taiwan last night after Joe doubles down. Because apparently he wants to stick up for Taiwan, and Taiwan, I believe, is part of China. Anyway, it always has been. But anyway, let's not worry about that. He wants to go to war. What the hell? 3-time deported illegal alien arrested again for a slew of sex crimes, including 21 sexual assaults. Great. 24-year-old Hawaiian surfer suffers seizure and dies. Okay, I want to talk about these. Do you know all these deaths from the vaccine, from the thing? Okay. Do you remember when we were told that they'll use COVID as the excuse to go out early, take themselves out? What if that's what the vaccine's about? Interesting. Anyway, just for mainly for them. Florida Sheriff's Office seizes enough fentanyl to kill 1.5 million adults. Great, that's all you need. And by the way, intelligence are using the border, okay, to do this, to get it in there. Chinese biotech firm with deep links to China's military and its pandemic program just bought land in Florida for a massive research complex. I can't see that going very well with DeSantis in charge. They bought 1,400 acres of rural farmland in Morriston, Florida, primarily for non-human primate monkey breeding and quarantine facility. What is not known is the laboratory close connections to China's People Liberation Army and what's arguably known as its bio-warfare program. You can't half tell what they're trying to do here, can you? Seriously? Okay, these are the people, I think, who are doing it. Yep, Shibo Zhang. Bloody idiot. This bloke, bloody idiot. This bloke's bloody idiot. This bloke, a bloody idiot. Recent Gateway pundit article noted the buyers of the People's Republic of China purchased $6.1 billion of US real estate last. Oh, so it's not just happening in Australia and everywhere else. Chinese are actually buying farmland in the US as well. Governor Ron DeSantis told Fox News in June that it was a huge problem that Chinese companies were stepping in to purchase farmland in the state. He said, I think the problem is these companies have ties to CCPs, not always apparent on the face of whatever a company is doing. Well, they need to get them out of there, pretty much. Oh, the powerful magnitude 7.6 earthquake strikes off the coast of central Mexico. Tsunami warning issued. There was also another one, I believe, in Taiwan, wasn't there? Okay. Ban on the most important midterms in the history of our nation. There's only one thing that's important: total and complete victory. A 50-year-old woman was arrested for joining in the beating of an 11-year-old student. So I don't even want to read some of these. It's embarrassingly, seemingly drunk, Trudeau shown singing to spectators while in London to attend Queen's funeral. There's a video in there, and it's him singing, what do you call it? Bohemian Rhapsody. Now, someone said if he's not drunk, okay, even if he wasn't actually drunk, my advice for him is to tell people he was absolutely hammered, car parked, wankered and sloshed so he has an excuse for this performance. Because it's just ridiculous, to be honest. And I'm not going to play it because I don't want to hear him. Biden's economic advisor blames recession on COVID, Ukraine and Puerto Rico losing electricity because of climate change. Oh, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. Not. And MSNBC contributor, white people turn violent when they don't politically get their way all the time. Really? Well, why didn't they all turn violent in 2020? Because apparently that's what the white people are, MAGA supporters. So, I mean, why aren't they all violent right now? Okay. Pilot of a Boeing aircraft suddenly dies during a flight. Oh, great. Oh, no. That's the last thing you need. The co-pilot had to make an emergency landing at Omsk Airport. I hope that's how you say it. But the commander died before he could receive medical assistance. The resuscitation ambulance team arrived at the airport 10 minutes before the plane landed. The team stated the death of the pilot before providing medical assistance. There has been an increase in the number of times that pilots have fainted or fallen asleep. Previous Gateway pundit previously reported that a pilot fainted at 30,000 feet, prompting the plane to make an emergency landing in Greece last month. One fuming passenger claimed the ordeal had delayed the start of their holiday by 8 hours. Wouldn't you be more concerned that the pilot's all right? Anyway, they said their family of 4 was given €15 voucher, which covered a basic meal, the outlet reported. According to passengers, Jet2 does not compensate for delays due to medical emergencies. Okay, I think we're pretty much... That's what look, my theory on people dying all of a sudden from... And all the famous ones especially, right, is that they're taking that way out. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Clown show, Biden's car gets stuck in London traffic on the way to the King's banquet and Brits laugh. I've got more footage of that in a minute. Joe Biden insists scandal-plagued Hunter did not cause any conflicts for US, omits the video, Hunter and his hooker smoking crack and discussing stolen computer by Russians. Study finds that the vaccines aren't real good, you know, just not real good. Okay, forensics from AZ said 10,000 anonymous ballots. Okay. Oh, just up an inch. Joe Biden downplays his record 8.2% inflation numbers as he destroys the middle class. Canadian recounts his near-death experience after his 3rd shot, suffers cardiac arrest, respiratory kidney failure, paralysis, nerve damage, no brain activity. Oh dear. Okay, now let's go over here. Okay, what have we got? I retweeted on Anomaly. Well, notice how all the mistakes they made with that thing go in favour of big government, big pharma and big tech censorship, of course. That disease. And you know, said Antifa and far less trans protesters gathered in Brighton, England on Sunday to try and shut down a women's rights rally. They accused the woman of being transphobic. Of course they would. Police made arrests for assault, sexual assault and more. Yep, it looks like Antifa to me again. Women are speaking up for their sex-based rights and howling abuse at lesbian for not doing dick. Oh, okay. Not doing anything. They became, trans activists became aggressive. Look at this. Look, that looks to me like Antifa, okay? Look at his face. Trans activists became aggressive and violent at a Let Women Speak event in Brighton, UK on Sunday, resulting in 3 being arrested on suspicions of crimes, including sexual assault and obstruction. J.K. Rowling posted a support of the women, saying, "I see the Be Kind Brigade are once more hiding behind their black masks, throwing smoke bombs, screaming scum at women, speaking up for their sex-based rights and howling abuses at lesbians for not doing anything." A militant group of trans protesters, largely part of Reclaim Pride Brighton, some with their identities concealed by Antifa-style black masks, interrupted a public gathering of women's rights activists from the Let Women Speak group who argued that women are adult human females and that lesbians can't be male and aren't attracted to them, according to post-millennial editor-at-large Andy No. Trans activists descended on the women's gathering, hurling insults and becoming aggressive to the point where police needed to intervene. The counter-protesters, dressed in black, decked out with masks on trans pride flags, tried to shout over talks from women's rights activists yelling, "Trans women are women," and TERFs F off. No, how about you people F off, you idiots? Let Women Speak organiser Kelly J. Keane, otherwise known as Posey Parker, was interrupted with threats during her speech, requiring police presence between her and the trans extremists, one of which held a sign that read "Combat TERF Hate," along with an image of a firebomb. Now, that's pretty threatening behaviour. Before the event, Reclaim Pride Brighton posted a flyer calling for trans activists to make it clear she is not welcome. Huh, how disgusting are these people? I've been called a Nazi for saying I don't think women have penises. Once you can portray someone as the most heinous person in society, a Nazi, I guess anything goes, said Keane to Daily Mail. Sadly, it's not unusual for trans activists to issue threats about women wanting to talk about our rights. J.K. Rowling is a prime example of that. As one trans-identified person was being arrested, several other protesters on the anti-women speaking side attempted to physically pry them away from police. According to No, the militant arrested was identified as Charlie Turner, also known as Bliss Winters, a trans woman with criminal history. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, who has frequently been critical of radical gender ideology, has slammed the pro-trans protesters for throwing smoke bombs and howling abuse at lesbians. Yeah, I agree. This is disgusting behaviour. And women, we need to stand up against this. Yes, we do. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your rights. And then you'll end up, your daughter will be in a toilet one day, a public toilet, and probably get assaulted by people who say they're trans but are actually just criminals. And I'm not saying all trans people are that. I know they're not. I put question marks on this one. Red Pills Are Yummy said, a black swan blackout shutdown is upon us. Game over, it was necessary. Incoming a week to be remembered. Change is imminent. The devil's been defeated, dark to light. I don't know where this came from, because I don't know if I've ever seen actually this being said on the board. Trump arrest incoming. Trump arrest will trigger the storm. Great awakening. Okay. Now, I do believe that that could happen, okay? The Trump arrest. I reckon it can happen. But I don't know about the rest of this, so take it with a grain of salt, please. I laughed at this because Clown World shared Fauci fears anti-vaxxer attitude could cause outbreaks of non-COVID diseases. Of course he does. He's a bloody idiot. Taking Back said the world hates Biden. Are you ready for this one? A warm UK welcome by Il Donaldo Trumpo. Ready? Okay, we pretty much get that. That's while he was going through London. Good on you, UK. Sal the Agorist shared this. Oh, let me see. Yep. Wrong does not cease to be wrong because the majority share in it. Leo Tolstoy. And that's the same as saying just because the majority believes in, you know, XYZ, that does not make XYZ true. Okay? Just because the majority of people believe it doesn't make it true. Okay, Carrie Lake War Room said during the Summer of Love, Katie Hobbs was a BLM activist. She tried to scrub that from a social media profile. I don't think you guys have reported that. Look at that. BLM. And it does say this is not an official account, but it is her account. I retweeted Aussie Ann said, they fear you. They fear you being awake. They fear you waking up others. They fear you being armed. They fear you speaking up. They fear you speaking out. They fear you standing up. They fear you resisting. They fear you're rebelling. They fear you revolting. They fear you not complying. They fear you banding together. They fear you standing together. They fear you coordinating. They fear you learning you are the majority. They fear you realizing your power. They fear you using your power. They fear you. And they are not succeeding, believe me. Illuminati Bot said, liberty is meaningless where the right to utter one's thoughts and opinions has ceased to exist. That of all rights is the dread of tyrants. It is the right which they first of all strike down. Frederick Douglass. And I agree with that. Cauldron Pool said there are always two sides to this virus, the virus crisis and the crisis manufactured by bureaucrats for the cameras. Okay, let's have a little look at this from the Cauldron Pool. If the bureaucratic caste can milk the manufactured side of the crisis for all it's worth, what's stopping them from squeezing as much political profit from a climate crisis smelted into the same fires and forged on the same conveyor belt of forced consensus, doom and gloom? The continuing madness of illogical mandates and draconian diktats, irreconcilable irreconcilable with clear scientific data, proves that the CCP-19 mantra, follow the science, was really about following the prescribed political propaganda. There are always two sides to this, the virus crisis and the crisis manufactured by bureaucrats for the cameras. Despite proven scientific evidence on responsible personal hygiene and self-care and preventing the spread and severity of it, such as hand-washing, diet and exercise, through carefully scripted manipulative propaganda, governments conditioned billions to believe being locked down, locked out, and injected with experimental things was the best for their health. Most governments, Sweden and Taiwan are the exemptions, took a bat to a wound that required the use of a scalpel. Malicious governments even succeeded in making the populace believe they were being benevolent by handing back civil liberties which they had stolen or hijacked, complete with threat to liberty, life and livelihood for those who refused to comply. For the first time this century, an overreaching, bloated bureaucracy was able to blind millions, then profit from fear and faux altruism, while the majority happily fell in, lined up, goose-stepped in unison and saluted the decent into safetyism hell. Despite legacy media surrendering its platform from which bureaucrats could liberally apply the prescribed political propaganda, they now appear to be offering an antidote to it. In a New York Post criticism of the overreaction, the contributor Carol Markowitz wrote an article headline, "Continuing Craziness Shows It Was Never About the Science." Markowitz rightly argued that the contradictory nature of many mandates negated alleged scientific reasons for those mandates. For instance, Trudeau and Canada killing off freedom-loving ideals by putting the unjabbed behind a frozen curtain made no sense when it doesn't prevent transmission, she said. Markowitz added, added, if you're looking for a more blatant example, move down to the United States and Latin America borders. No foreigner may enter the United States without being fully jabbed, unless, of course, they walk across the border. Further, unjabbed children in New York can attend school, they cannot play sports, and unjabbed parents cannot enter school buildings, including parents of special needs, all in the name of health. This coincides, the New York Post contributor said, with New York's Department of Education firing another 850 teachers and teachers' aides for practising informed consent and refusing the jab. Hence, Markowitz concludes, if you're looking for consistency in the policies, you can stop right now. None of it has ever made sense. The fractured trust between Americans and our institutions will be immeasurable, and the damage continues. Even the woke White House is beginning to distance itself from the mind virus that helped spread. In an interview with 60 Minutes this week, Joe Biden declared the pandemic over, although Build Back Better Biden cautioned the United States still has a problem with it. This caution signals a reluctance to let go. His new position on that follows comments in March where the burned-all-down, fiery but mostly peaceful president stated that the pandemic was far from over while appealing to legislators for more money to fight the virus. The pandemic may be over, yet the fear, control and faux altruism, which is still largely benefiting the gluttonous bureaucracy, remains. As Markowitz said, the damage is done. Political profit is why they'll simply shift gears, applying what they've learned from this to climate catastrophism. I'm trying to say the words right. This makes the other thing, totalitarian, make sense, and it'll make that COVID version of communism seem like a walk in the park by comparison. If the bureaucratic caste can milk the manufactured side of the COVID crisis for all it's worth, what's stopping them from squeezing as much political profit from the climate one? Smelted in the same fires and forged on the same conveyor belt of forced consensus, doom and gloom? The antidote to this new mind virus is an awakened public heeding the countless lessons we just went through. Okay? With this stupid disease. The many have to be prepared to actually follow the science, not the manufactured consensus, in order to counter the prescribed political propaganda from the few. Okay. I'm getting real tired, guys. I'm getting tired of it. I want something to happen. We've got, what do you call it, frontline tiredness. What's Sun Tzu say? You don't want your Well, when the front line gets tired, you need the next one backing up. The next lot of people. Liz Churchill said the goal of the Great Reset is to make you hateful, godless, bankrupt, genderless, suicidal, and eventually dead. I believe that too. Okay, these are the ladies that were... Ladies? I don't know. Andy No said, ICYMI. One of the women cursing at the baby and father in the viral video has been identified as Carly Mae Kavanagh, who calls herself a journalist. She said she works at the House of Commons as top policy advisor for the MP of Brighton, Kemptown. Okay? Look at the state. I mean, I'm not dressed that much better than these people. I wear tracksuit pants but I mean, wow. So she said, you're raising a little fascist as well. 2 far-left protesters, part of the Antifa Trans Direct Action Against the Women's Rights rally in Brighton, England, confronted a man and his baby. They cursed him and the child out. So, yeah, apparently they're yelling at the baby. Let me have a look.
Oh, you're raising a little fascist as well.
Oh, you'll get your kid on it as well, you fucking fascist.
Wow. You're not a feminist, you're a fascist.
You think that's a good idea, do you? To raise a child who believes
I'm
it's
so
real?
sorry for your father.
To raise a child who doesn't accept trans people. It's 2022, you're disgusting.
He's disgusting? This lady, he is disgusting. They're both disgusting. Okay, anyway, it starts again. They were yelling at his kid as well. Like, to his, you know, not at the child, but in front of the child. I don't think that's a good idea. Not such a small child. Andy No said one of the women cursing the baby and the father has been identified as Carly Mae Kavanagh, who calls herself a journalist, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I read that. Some are claiming it is harassment to identify a lawmaker's top staffer. Really? Well, I think it's harassment what she did. It's Nikki, she, her. Oh, God. Here we go. Here's a prime example of how TERFs will take photos and videos to use for purposes of hunting us down and finding out who we are to get others to go harass someone. No, that's what you do. It's a trans woman, an adult female human being, Twitch streamer. Oh, my God, pronouns. Oh, go shove your pronouns where the sun doesn't shine. Carly Mae Kavanagh, the head policy for Labor MP Lloyd RM in the House of Commons, has locked down her Twitter after she was identified as being one of the far-left protesters who accosted a baby and her father at the Brighton Park where Antifa had direct action. Oh, dear God. For Lloyd Russell Moyle. Yeah, qualified journalist, yeah. Oh, I've got a lot to say. People being sent over from the US as from CNN under a journalism tag. Yeah, there's a lot of them in the UK. Yeah, so there you go. They're not nice people. They think that that's harassment for calling them out, and what they're doing isn't. Like, come on. Seriously? The lack of self-awareness is amazing. Stephen L. Miller said he's not in charge. White House says the virus policy unchanged despite Biden's comments that it's over. So which one is it? They don't even know. It wasn't a gaffe. It wasn't a slip. He said it pretty definitely twice in the same interview. He dared anyone who questioned his mental fitness. Here's the example right here. Biden reportedly complains that he looks weak. This is why his own administration undercuts him every time he opens his mouth. Is he in charge or not? No, he's not. Luke said, I don't think a more sinister group could come together. What should be the group's name? WEF hosts New York Climate Crisis Confab featuring BlackRock, Bezos and CNN. And this is a Substack. Okay, elite legacy institutions are gathering in New York with the hopes to convince you you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, and good luck with that, guys, because it's not going to happen. There's too many of us awake right now. They are going to fail. I feel like I'm being a little bit more snarky today because I'm getting fed up. I really am getting fed up. The World Economic Forum, WEF, has arrived in New York this week to continue its sustained attack on individual national sovereignty, partnering with major legacy financial and media institutions to wage its campaign, which will fail. The WEF kicked off its Sustainable Development Impact meetings on Monday in New York, hosting a technocratic tyranny-themed confab under the guise of a continuing climate crisis on the sidelines of the annual UN General Assembly meetings. The WEF, which serves as the narratives and ideas shop of the global ruling class, helped to popularise movements such as the Great Reset and the Build Back Better campaign, among other manoeuvres designed to transition the world to a system of authoritarian global governance. In New York, the WEF's programming features the climate crisis front and centre, as WEF President Klaus Schwab and his cantillionaire compatriots clearly understand this movement as the best opportunity to hoover up the remaining rights and property of individuals and nations. The New York conference agenda will feature 8 panels, and unsurprisingly, all 8 are related to the climate crisis. A video introducing the summit is up on the WEF website, featuring an all-star cast that includes Al Gore and a BlackRock official. And they can shove it up their rear ends. Younger generations are demanding a sense of purpose. They want to look at a company and say, I'm investing with you all for this reason, says BlackRock VP Pamela Chan, who also served as a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader and Global Shaper. See where, yeah. Ah, dear. This is interesting. Interesting and infuriating, actually. Okay, the opening panel, titled The Geoeconomics of Climate Change, featured the President and CEO of the Bezos Earth Fund, funded through a $10 billion donation from Jeff Bezos, along with Borg Brend, the President of WEF. 2 panels slated to run Tuesday will feature big names at MSNBC and CNN. MSNBC anchor Stephanie Ruhle will headline the Green Transition and the Future of Work panel. Another panel titled Tackling Disinformation, of course, will showcase CNN VP Rachel Smolkin. Good luck, seriously, with that. By the way, Big Tech is being taken to court and they're being sued for censoring people. Yeah. So I really do think they're losing. Okay, disinformation is not new. Examples of disinformation and so-called fake news campaigns are plentiful. The introduction to the CNN session reads, but with increasing fears about the cost of living exacerbated by the pandemic and energy crisis, it is now more critical than ever to tackle people telling their experiences head on. I wanted to reword that. To tackle disinformation head on. So you're not even I betcha they'll stop people from even reporting on what they're seeing in their own countries. On Wednesday, the WEF will host Web3 Climate Impact Meeting. Web3 is a term coined by one of the co-founders of Ethereum, a digital asset that was recently re-engineered into the foundation for potential global central bank digital currency. Ethereum becomes a WEF coin and global CBDC is born, apparently. I don't know. The Web3 panel features a variety of crypto executives who want to support positive climate change. Well, you've got to find out which ones those are and sell them. WEF will round out its New York summit with a committee on plastic pollution. Featuring a variety of government ministers. What about the plastic pollution this virus just caused with all the masks floating around the ocean? They're everywhere. I never see litter on our streets of our little town here, and lately I've seen masks everywhere. Dear. Legacy NGO, finance and media institutions want to convince you that your best life means that you will own nothing and you'll be happy. To the WEF and their backers, they seek to employ the New York discussions as a springboard to advance that agenda. Of course they do. It's not working. That really is not working. No jab, no job, said a late farming friend of mine, Jack Holmes, ROP. He had a pig farm. His sows started to die. Then he took one, then another and another for post-mortem. The result was they died from breast cancer. Why? An investigation by New South Wales Agriculture and New South Wales Health It was found in Western New South Wales, where he was buying grain to feed his pigs and also sell grain, I don't know, gain. The concrete silos were sprayed with DDT before each harvest. The grain absorbed the DDT. When fed to the sow, they contracted breast cancer. Both parties made him sign a secrecy agreement never to talk about it. And this is just her experience. She knew the man, okay? It's the man. Oh, sorry. He knew the man. RSBN's statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President, says, did you see the FBI agent who was in charge of the Russia hoax being investigated for being paid by Russia while working in all places, the FBI? In other words, the people who were investigating Mr. T for Russia involvement, Mueller report proved no collusion, were actually the ones involved with Russia. This could only happen to me. Dear, dear. And Queen of 17, sorry. This is another one you take with a grain of salt. Part 2, final warning. I haven't read the first one, geez. Department of Defence Laws of War. First, you must understand when the President is on TV, tens of thousands of intelligence insiders, workers, agents and direct military agents from hundreds of countries around the world are watching the speech and looking for messages, codes, drops, lifetime wires. It's not only Mr. T supporters, but a very important worldwide White Hats agencies and alliance, as well as deep state agencies that are looking at the President's speech. They're all trying to decode it. Because in case you didn't know, they talk in code. Things that they say are like red lights, green lights and amber lights for doing stuff, for certain people to do stuff. Not us, because we don't understand. Well, I don't understand what their codes are, but a lot of people do understand it. As you read part 1 of the story, you can understand why the military T executive orders pertaining to seizing assets of foreign countries that interfered with selection. The seizing of money in the stock market is currently happening, and hundreds of companies running through BlackRock and Vanguard holdings are all collapsing. Behind the scenes, there is no deals, no surrender. The enemy is in collapse. Reread part 1 of the story above, which I haven't seen. Facebook behind the scenes. Zuck has come under control. Turncoat, and war is happening over Facebook. And a war, the white ones are in critical battle for the 3 billion users and control of their lives. US deep state wants full control as soon as possible before the exposure of that all comes out. Deep state operations are good exposed. They're trying desperately to use congressional powers to seize Facebook. As I've told you, the last year, the tentacles of Bin Salman is reaching far into all the top social media sites. His subsidiary companies, his investors he controls, and family Saudi interests controls trillions in social media with the combined help of the United States Space Force, Intel Agency and US military intel battalions. The operations of the storm bringing down Facebook, and everything's headed to exposure. But everything seemingly must be done by the books. Good Republicans working for the people must make it feel as though the government officials are fighting with them and for them. It just seems as Americans are taking back their country, but the real truth behind the scenes, the military law of war is in effect. T, executive orders in effect, continuity of government in effect. This means everything must seem normal as they go behind the scenes, seizing powers. The DS cabal in the Vatican knew this was happening. That's the reason they call for all their money back from all countries that have central banking system. They are inside a great collapse and nothing can stop what's coming. That's the reason T stood by the flag with dark colours. Looks like no stars. The code in this message is clear to military operatives, communication specialists across the world in hundreds of different military intelligence agencies that were watching T's speech and decoding events. He gave the coded message for them to move forward worldwide in their continuing plans, and in the same message the DS were warned, no deals, no surrender. And in fact, Mr. T said in his last speech that they have awakened the quiet, I don't know, what did he, I can't remember his exact words, that you have awakened the quiet ones, and they've awakened a monster, in other words. In T's speech, she gave much details what will happen from exposure to the fall of that party, the D Party, to the future safety of Making America Great. The past month, T has confirmed several times, the board several times, and Kash Patel has been on the board podcasters channel several times this year. With Putinhead and Falcon Storm. Military operations to bring down biolabs, which is done. And his main goal is to stop the DS world money laundering in over there, where we're all sending money. You know, all our countries are sending money over there. This will ensure the collapse of the UN Davos regime. Biden, Obama, trillions over there. The final warning has been given now. There's no deals, no surrender. You are inside the storm. You are the storm, patriots. You have saved hundreds of billions of lives by sharing real news and information through the world movement, the Great Awakening. Now, it's up to you whether you believe it or not. I'm not telling anyone to believe it. Yep, that's the same thing, isn't it? Yep. Just making sure, guys. Making sure there's no more in here that I need to look at. Okay. You'll love this one. The cost of this 4-bedroom house in 1958. Value, beauty and charm. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, $11,990, $87 a month. This is what inflation does. Inflation is just more tax. So really what they've done is create a massive housing bubble. Seriously? Epstein sheet. Said fake alert news. The new line from the media is Mr. T's crowd sizes are diminishing. This video from Youngstown, Ohio tells a different story. They're actually getting bigger. Let's have a look.
Fake news alert, guy. The new attack by the left on President.
I just want to see. Okay. They're all squeaking. He's fast forwarded it anyway. Yeah, they say it's getting smaller. No, it's not. It's actually growing. And we all know that. People, we all know that because we can see people waking up left, right, and centre.
Wild, huh? I mean, if this was a Biden rally, this is all you'd have right here. Hey, look at
It's a pretty big lineup.
Holy crap!
Still going.
Keeps going. This is crazy. Biden, even when he was. Hey, hey, hey! God bless America.
It go. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Okay. Libs of TikTok said in order to get approved for gender-affirming surgery, you need a letter stating you're ready for surgery. Trans activists on TikTok are promoting a site which just hands out letters to anyone who wants one. This is the content the kids are consuming on TikTok.
Hey everybody, I'm the gender doula. If you need a letter either for starting hormones or for surgery, or you can get 1 letter but you actually need 2 letters for surgery, I have a service for you. This is
Okay. You get it? Because I don't want to play that music in the background. Yeah, they'll give you a letter. Wow. Nick Adams said California, New York are communist states. This is what I was mentioning before. Australia, Canada, we're all like California, New York, we're all communist states. No, we're not communists. We are communist states being run by communists. There you go. They awoke a sleeping giant. That's what he said. Ivan Penchikov said Martha's Vineyard newspapers list 50 job ads despite claims of no works on the island. It's funny, 50 job ads. There were 50 people, weren't there? Oh, dear. And the 4 tiers of authoritarian behaviour control. Okay, this is going to be a long one. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to pause it for a sec. Okay, the 4 tiers of authoritarian behavioural control and the value of your unique mind. The enemy is the gramophone mind, whether or not one agrees with the record that is being played at the moment. George Orwell. Behavioural modification and behavioural control are essential to the kind of social control sought by the technocratic fascist takeover of planet Earth currently underway. The controllers absolutely cannot tolerate protest, dissent, or even abstention from their insane agendas, and so it's necessary for them to ensure that individuals are unable to express contrarian viewpoints. Their plans simply won't fly without mass obedience, or at least the perception thereof. If you won't automatically just go along with whatever authoritarian roadblocks are tossed into your path, you must be singled out before you create a ripple of dissension among the hive. And so the cage to contain you is taking form. Advertising, public relations, propaganda, Hollywood, TV, mainstream media, celebrity culture and influencers comprise the first tier of social control. These entities serve to ubiquitously present an example of what behaviour, ideas and beliefs are required in order for you to blend amongst the herd. They shape your behaviour through repetition, constantly informing you of what is accepted and expected, and your subconscious mind gets the message loud and clear. The second tier is official censorship, corporate censorship and cancel culture, which all aim at outright silencing dissenting viewpoints. As a bonus, this tier is multi-dimensionally effective. There are those people whom are directly censored and or booted off speech platforms like ourselves here, and me, plus the additional compounding effect of self-censorship, which is a semi-conscious self-regulation of one's speech in order to conform to perceived current social norms and standard, and to avert risks of doing so. I discussed this in detail in a 2018 article entitled George Orwell Warned Us of the Most Dangerous Type of Censorship, and it's happening now. The third tier emerging before our eyes will involve the use of advanced technology, AI, machine learning and algorithmic monitoring of your speech in public and eventually in private, in order to silence you immediately and met out instant retribution for vocalising wrongthink. I'm writing this piece right now because I noticed a recent article from France 24 entitled Dutch Clubs to Deploy Smart Technology to Fight Fan Racism, which is a clear demonstration of what Tier 3 will look like. Here's a quote from that. 3 top Dutch football clubs are taking part in pilot projects using smart technology including artificial intelligence to identify and fight racist behaviour by fans. The country's football federation announced Wednesday. At PSV, which is closely linked with Dutch technology giant Philips, cameras and sound equipment are to be used to measure fans' engagement at matches, with feedback directly to the fans to motivate them and sing along. Computer programs using artificial intelligence will be able to pick up objectionable shouts and alert human officials who can watch a replay, the KNVB said. At Zwolle in the country's east, visitors will go to games with their tickets on their phones, accessible via a mobile app, which among other things will be able to give supporters real-time information about safety conditions around the stadium. Oh dear God. That's a lot of ingenuity and resources going to solving unfortunate problem of people being arseholes, but alas, we know how these types of systems are marketed and how they evolve and spread in society once they've been tested for the purported benefit of making the world safer and more inclusive. I'm certain that Tier 4 will involve some transhumanistic level of mind-reading technology where individuals can be profiled and singled out according to their social beliefs before they've ever even crystallised such ideas within their own minds. In fact, I had previously read that one of the wet dreams of Klaus Schwab and his crew was to develop the tools to be able to read people's minds as they were engaging in international travel in order to identify their intent. If anyone reading this can find a link to this, please let me know. Orwell's work of prophetic fiction, 1984, created a picture of what such a rigidly controlled society might look like. Ordinary people are boxed into reality of inflexible and soul-numbing conformity, while those behind the curtain are free to engage in any form of depravity they can conjure up. And of course, this is already happening in our world. Epstein didn't kill himself, as they say. But my aim here is really not to inform you of current news or invite discouragement about the nature of a rapidly evolving world. My aim is to bring your full awareness to the value of your own mind in all of this. It is the prize. It is your own original ideas about what's possible for you in this ball of confusion that can really sway things in a positive direction. After all, if enrolling the whole world in a homogenized, centrally managed monoculture slave plantation was put to vote, it wouldn't happen. Well, really, it won't happen anyway, but that's another conversation. I've spoken in great detail about how most people don't realise the bulk of their behaviour is not organic to themselves. That is, most of the things people do on a daily basis are the results of programs which run inside your subconscious mind and do not serve your personal interests of being healthy, wealthy and happy with functional, fulfilling relationships. And this really is the central question of the self-mastery and self-sabotage coaching I do. Is your behaviour organic and original to you, or is something outside of yourself programming you? The fact that so much energy and effort is being directed on controlling what you think and how you express yourself should tell you just how powerful you truly are. The more you understand this, the more freedom you have in your life to become the person you deserve to be and live the life you deserve to live. I love speaking about these topics on this platform, love helping people directly wake up to how this plays out in their own unique lives. If you're interested, he can assist you. His name's Dylan Charles. He's self-mastery and self-sabotage coach. So there you go. There's that. It's pretty much, it's very close what he just said to the Cyrus A. Parser and what he was saying about AI. They want to be able to read your mind. Okay, and I've already gone on about that one. Sertovich said they wanted to remain in Martha's Vineyard instead of a town of 80% Biden voters. Call the military and remove them. If you've been looking for fascists, you've now found them. They're in Martha's Vineyard. Okay, and that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you think about this down below. I hope you have a good morning, afternoon or evening. I'm just going to do this for the next couple of days. I've got Thursday and Friday. I have to go and look after my grandchildren. So I'll be doing that, and I'll be doing another video tomorrow, and then it won't be until Saturday because it's full on with my 3 grandkids. So yeah. Okay. Hope you have a good morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you soon, guys. Have a good one. Okay, bye.